Hey, Brennan here. Welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. Got another 2025 rookie profile show. We're going to talk OMARION, Hampton, North Carolina running back heading into his true junior season. I'm going to be joined by Jason Devy, my podcast co-host. We've watched his all-22 film. We're going to give you a detailed scouting report going into his junior season. Is going to be a top 5 in the NFL draft next year. There's some mock drafts I see out there that have him in the top 5. So we're going to go over his draft capital. We're going to go over some player comps and let you know if he's a buy, sell, or hold for us. So lots going on in this show. You play Devy, you play fantasy. You're looking for a YouTube channel out there that's going to give you an early look at future draft classes. Hit that subscribe button. Enjoy the show. All right, Jason, let's get to our 2025 rookie profile. We got 2 tonight. The first one we're going to talk about is Mr. OMARION, Hampton running back, 6 foot, 220-pound junior running back. Now, we just watched the all 22 films. I cut up 3 films and sent them to you. His Clemson game, his South Carolina game, and then we did a film breakdown, play-by-play film breakdown on his Miami game. That's on the Notion dashboard for my dashboard subscribers. So check that out. If you're listening and you want access to that, reach out to me. You can see the email on the screen or reach out to me in the show notes. Would love to share that stuff with you for you to scout OMARION Hampton by yourself. But last year he had a great season. He is one of the top backs headed to the 2025 NFL draft. He had 1,400 yards last year, a whopping 6.1 yards per attempt, 15 TDs. He had 2 fumbles on the season. Solid grade, PFF grades across the board. He 90.4, which is in the upper echelon. Really nice stat here. Yards after contact, 4.37, tops in the class. Missed tackles, 463, also very good. What I really like too is receiving profile. He had 26 receptions on 29 targets. So again, he's got that size at 6 foot, 220 pounds. We love those running backs that have that size and receiving ability is really good. In the game we watched in Miami, he had 2 or 3 of those receptions that we saw. Looked really natural catching the ball out of his hands. So pretty excited. So we watched the games. We watched the 3 all 22 films. What was your overall thought on OMARION Hampton?
Yeah, to me, OMARION Hampton looks like that he has the opportunity to be a possible starter at the next level. I mean, he's got the size. When you watch him up, right at the snap, you see a bit of patience. He allows gaps to develop, which is good. I think the lateral agility behind the line of scrimmage might limit the gap that he takes. So if one is collapsing, I'm not sure he's got that lateral explosion to re-navigate. But once he identifies his assignment, I mean, and he hits a gap, you do see pretty good acceleration for his size. He knows how to either get skinny or get a low pad level and get himself through that gap. Once he gets into the second level, if there's a pursuing defender that's coming at him at a lateral angle, and he gets hit by the hip, it was kind of interesting that it definitely throws off his contact balance a little bit, and he would go down. But a lot of what he does show good contact balance at times. I mean, there was some really good tackle attempts in some of the film that we watched, but there were times too where he just knew how to get out of it, stayed, kept his legs going, kept his legs turning through contact. He was driving 5 or 6 guys on one play down the field, so he's got that competitiveness, he's got that tenacity. And there was one breakaway run that he had in the Clemson film along the perimeter where you saw some pretty decent speed from him. So to me, I think he's got a good all-around skill set. Some things are above average, some areas I want to see improved, but I think he could be a solid producer at the next level.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I think we both came away. We liked his film. My issue was like what you mentioned is just his lateral ability. You can see on the show sheet
Mhm.
here some of the things that you had mentioned on the scouting report for me as well. Is I think he's a physical north-south runner, gets upfield relatively quickly. I think he's very disciplined. I think he did a lot of gap plays that we saw. He really works the interior part of the line. He's not a player that's going to bounce outside. So he's going to follow his instruction, follow his block. So I feel like he's a really disciplined runner and he's going to make coaches happy that he's going to, follow what he's supposed to do. His yards after
Yeah.
contact, like we had mentioned on PFF, were pretty solid. You saw that also on the film. And his receiving profile, I'm pretty excited about. I think for a guy this size that can catch the ball out of the backfield, kind of like a Javonte Williams, right? I mean, in Denver, he kind of
Yeah.
had that
Yeah.
ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. Javonte Williams obviously came from North Carolina as well. I mean, he was a physical beast, that guy, running down the field. I mean, he was, you talk about a guy who could get yards after contact. That guy was hard to get on the ground, but my thing with Emmanuel Hampton, I love the size, love everything about his game. I just got a little bit of concern about the lack of wiggle in space when it comes to being able to
Yeah.
redirect. You got to make guys miss in the NFL to really be one of the elite backs in the NFL. You've got to be able to manipulate defenders, make them move through your movement skills, through your athleticism, and flexibility in your lower half. And I'm just wondering if he's got that. He seems a little stiff to me when he's running in between the tackles. And the ball security, he had 4 fumbles in 2 seasons, but he put the ball on the ground 7 times in 2 years. Only 4 were recorded as fumbles because they lost the ball. So I think he's got to, really be able to, keep the ball in his hands. All right, let's get to our tape grades, Jason. We love doing this 1 out of 5 tape grades. These are the traits that Jason and I, we look at when we watch the film together, and we, value, value the traits of each of these players. So the tape grade, the first one we look at for running backs is vision and patience. I gave him a 4. I think he's got really good vision. I mean, there were cutbacks. Like I said, he was disciplined. He follows instruction. He knows where he's supposed to go. I think he was patient as well. He let his blocks develop. So there wasn't anything navigating the line of scrimmage that I thought was a red flag.
Yeah, I mean, I give him a 3.5. I definitely think he's above average. It's just the lateral movement. Like if a pocket is collapsing, I'm just concerned that maybe he can't redirect and re-navigate as quickly as I like. But the vision and patience is definitely there.
Yeah, which leads us to the next trait, which is, I think, one of the most important ones. I mean, they're all important to us. You want
Yep.
someone who's got great traits for all these things, but most of these players have 1 or 2 that, hold them back from being an elite running back in the NFL. His footwork and short area quickness, I gave him a 2.5, which is average 1 out of 5. And that is my biggest thing with him, is his ability to navigate in the trenches if things do collapse, if the discipline isn't there, where he thinks he's supposed to go. Can he readjust quick enough to make guys miss and to not deaccelerate too much to be able to make plays on the field? So I gave him a 2.5.
Yeah, I gave him a 3. I think it's just average. I'm also taking into account his size. I don't think he's going to be an explosive lateral mover, but it is going to limit what he can do on the field.
Acceleration and speed, I give him a 4 out of 5. I think he comes out of the gate when he makes his decision and wants to run through one of those gaps. I
Mhm.
think he has that ability. And then we saw he's got, when he breaks through the line of scrimmage after the first 5-7 yards, he's got the ability. There were some plays where he ran to the outside, and defenders were taking some tough angles and not taking the right angles. So I think he's got some wiggle. He's not going to be a home run hitter by any means, but for at 6 foot 220 pounds, I think he's got definitely adequate speed to be successful.
Yeah, I came away pretty impressed with his size speed combination. I give him a 4 as well.
So strength and contact balance, I gave him a 4. I think we talked about it when we did watch the film. There were times where we would like to see him shed tackles a little bit more, but he had
Mhm.
1 of the higher yards after contact on PFF in this class. So, but he's got the strength, he's got the size, and I love the word that you use is, and it's just escaped me right now. I had it on my tongue, but someone who gives the effort, right? At that
Yeah.
at the tackle point. What's the term you use all the time? It's a good one.
Uh, I always use tenacity all the time. I'm
Tenacity.
not
That's it. That's it.
is that it?
It's like,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
he shows that toughness, and he definitely
right.
brings that to the table. So I gave him a 4.
I gave him a 4 as well, and to just kinda add into that, before we even did this film breakdown a few weeks back, I was watching his film, and I put some tweets out there.
I
I think
remember.
he's a good, blocker too. I saw some really good blocking technique from him and some functional play strength there, so I took that into account with this grade too.
Yeah, I think that's something we really didn't look at on his film that we probably should have. His receiving, I gave him a 4.5. I think he's got soft, natural hands. We didn't see a ton of vertical route running, but how many running backs in the NFL, unless you're like, you're not expecting a vertical route runner, 220 pounds at 6 feet, right? You want a
Right.
guy that can get out on the flank, get the ball, be a safety net for the quarterback, and to be able to get upfield, get you 5-10 yards. I think he could be really, really good in that regard.
Yeah, I think you just explained everything I was going to, and I gave him a 4. He's definitely above average.
All right, his draft capital, right? So I've got him as a round 3, 4 guy, late day 2, early day 3. It's going to be 10. Again, we have a whole season of football left, right? But this is our early
Mhm.
look at these 2025 prospects. So I'm pretty comfortable with that. I don't think he's a round 2 guy unless he really has a magical season with Drake May and a whole new offensive line we talked about on the film review too. He's got a lot going against him to be that say if he comes out with the same production with really no quarterback and a whole new offensive line, well, good for him. But I see him as a round 3-4 guy. What about you?
Yeah, I put 3 to 5, but actually I think I'm more in line with the 3 to 4, like you said. Maybe even late round 2, just because the value of a running back that can block the way that he does might be valuable to a team, and it only takes one team to fall in love with that skill set.
Right. So our player comp, I got to say, I like yours probably better than mine, but I got Roshan Johnson as again, a guy coming out of Texas, big physical thumper down the middle, north-south runner.
Mm.
It's had some wiggle, and I can see a similar path for Hampton. I think he's going to be part of a committee. I'm not sure he's going to be drafted as an RB1. Maybe if he has a great season right now, I think he could be a solid part of a committee if somebody's looking for a 1-2 punch. But I love when you told me. Go ahead, you might spill the beans, baby. Tell me who your comp is. I like your comp a lot.
Yeah, he reminds me of Tyler Algier. We didn't I mean, I didn't really expect much from Tyler Algier, and then he goes and just, performs really well for the Falcons in his first year with opportunity. And I could absolutely see the same thing with Hampton, especially with the pass catching ability. It reminds me a lot of what Algier brings with that north-south, the pass catching out of the backfield, just the way he operated at BYU and how it all translated over to the Falcons. I could see a very similar type of path.
Yeah, I forgot to mention when his draft capital, you can see on the screen right now if you're watching on YouTube, if not on mockdraftdatabase.com, number 50. All right. So that is
Oh,
round 2 material,
okay.
right? With a
That's
peak
round
of
2.
36. So still early. We might be a
Wow.
little
Yeah.
down on him compared to his consensus right now, but it's still early. But I wanted to share that with you. All
Yeah.
right. For me, buy, sell, and hold. I am not going to go out and actively buy OMARION Hampton, although I did last year after watching the film, but he is a solid hold for me. I think if you've got him on your Devy roster, it's a great asset. Watch him how he goes this season. I would not sell him off. I think he's going to be one of the better backs in the class. Maybe he's ranked number 5 or 6 for me in my ranks right now, deep class. So he's a hold for me.
We're going to agree on this one. He's a hold for me too, and I think your explanation is perfect. I was thinking the same thing.
Okay. So you guys got it. There is our thoughts on OMARION Hampton, fun player that we're going to keep an eye on this fall.